Good day. Welcome to another edition of Inside Putnam Valley Schools. Eric Gross, your host, along with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jeremy Luft. And Jeremy, good seeing you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. It's been quite a year, but we're on the flip side now. Things are looking so much better. Phase 2 of reentry is about to take place. You must be somewhat relieved.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time. I think obviously all school districts and staff and students have struggled for the past 12 months now. Sort of scary that we're back to that faithful. I think Friday would mark the 1 year from when we announced the closing of schools. But I think for the first time we certainly have this sort of newfound glimmer of hope. And I think that is sort of a culmination of many factors, including the lower positivity rate, the increased percentage of faculty and staff that are vaccinated, warmer weather. There's a lot of things that are working in our favor, and all of that sort of led us to take the next step in our reentry. We reconvened our reentry task force with parents and teachers, administrators, community members, public health professionals, and had a great conversation, and then that's what ultimately led us to our plan.
The reentry plan, phase 2, as we say, is about to occur. Give our viewers a little rundown.
Sure. Well, the first phase is really to start allowing our hybrid students, so the students who typically attend school 2 days a week, will be afforded the opportunity to attend school the other 2 days, so 4 days a week. Our remote Monday will remain in place just for it's like 2 weeks. And it's an opportunity for us to begin to prepare for a more complete reopening. And then following spring break, we're going to afford the opportunity for all remote students to return to the classroom. We have a survey out now asking families to identify whether or not they intend on returning, particularly our all remote families. And to date, slightly over 50% of those respondents have reported their intention to return to in-person instruction. So as educators, that's exciting to us. We know that's where students learn best. So we're looking forward to welcoming more students back into our buildings.
And this is all grade levels. I know in my neighborhood, younger children are being as adversely affected as the older young ladies and gentlemen. 7, 8, 9-year-olds jump for joy when the school bus pulls up.
Yeah.
It's really getting to these kids.
Well, we've been really fortunate because we were able to welcome back elementary school students in September. We've had 100% of our students. We've welcomed back 100% of our students. Some have obviously opted for all remote. But our elementary school has sort of been following this model since September. So really this first phase is really mirroring what's going on in the elementary school, in the middle school, and the high school, before then allowing the all remote students to return.
Now, with the reentry plan, once the decision is made by the family, is that going to be it for the rest of the year, or can they change?
Yeah, no, we're asking for a commitment for the remainder of the school year. It's just a tremendous amount of planning that has to take place, ensuring we have the appropriate number of desks, appropriately spaced, barriers or face shields used as needed. So it's certainly a very complicated process for us if individuals start opting in throughout the spring. We always look for opportunities to bring students back. So I'm not going to say it's impossible to bring students back, but where space allows, it's much more complicated if it means opening up another space or finding more desks. So we're really asking families to make a commitment now, beginning April 6th, for the remainder of the school year.
We know, you walk around the school buildings, they are immaculate, they're spotless. This doesn't happen overnight. You want to commend and thank the custodial staff, the maintenance people, who really have bent over backwards now.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have a fantastic group of individuals in our Buildings and Grounds department. Their work started over the summer, where they emptied classrooms of furniture to make additional space, filled up 60-foot storage containers with furniture that we can't use this year, shifting furniture between buildings, putting all these cleaning processes in place, scanning QR codes when they clean spaces, purchasing equipment to disinfect. Truly, it would not be possible to do what we've been able to do this year without their sort of tireless dedication.
Ancillary staff, psychologists, social workers play an important role, especially during this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a tremendous uptick in students who are sort of reaching mental health crises and that staff is essential to help those students get to a better place and to get them support as needed. I think anyone who's sort of been locked in their home for months at a time and doesn't have the social interactions with their peers, and certainly are living within fear and anxiety of not knowing, right? Just to think back to what life was like in the spring where we knew almost nothing about this virus and how sort of terrifying that was. I truly believe that having more students back in our building where they have direct access to those clinical professionals and sort of a return to normalcy will ultimately benefit all students from a social emotional perspective.
And you're encouraging students and families alike, if they see anything, contact the school.
Of course, there's plenty of ways in which families can get in touch with the school district and plenty of support that we can help provide.
Not that Jerry has nothing to do these days with all the COVID preparations, the re-entry plans. It's budget time. That May date will be here before you know it. You and the board have been busy.
We have. We actually, at our next board meeting on March 18th, will be presenting our whole budget. We've been sort of giving snapshots along the way. For us, the big outstanding issue is the amount of state aid we'll receive. So we're not really sure what that number will be. We anticipate the state budget by April 1st, and that'll give us a better sense as how much state aid we're receiving. But we're sort of assuming the worst case scenario, making sure we could we could balance our budget appropriately, and hoping that some of that federal stimulus money makes its way back to Putnam Valley.
Well, Putnam Valley's had a great track record these last number of years, keeping that budget very, very moderately priced.
Yeah, I think it's our duty to be responsible, fiscally responsible for the community, and I think the community has recognized those efforts, and we hope to continue to be so. We'll stay below the tax levy cap, and we'll put forward a budget that preserves our academic programs and supports our social emotional needs of our students while respecting the financial burden upon the community.
Athletics is starting to come back as well now. You must be pleased about that.
We are. We're now into the playoff season. So it's not quite the sectionals, but smaller little playoff groups. And that goes this week. And that's the end of our winter season, and our fall 2 season, which was rescheduled from the fall, primarily football and volleyball, began this week as well. So we're quickly switching from one sport to the next.
We have some special guests on today's show, so Jeremy and I are going to take a break, sit back and relax. We're going to tell you about a most unusual performance, a play during pandemic here in Putnam Valley. Take a listen. A unique opportunity in times of COVID. The Drowsy Chaperone is going to be performed here at Putnam Valley High School. You heard us right, a live production during this pandemic. We have some very special guests with us today. We have Gerard Micera, Ryan Odell, and Jen Cahill. Jerry is a course teacher here at the school, and he's the director of the play. Welcome.
Hi.
Tell us about this unique opportunity.
It truly is unique. What we're going to do is we're gathering. We have all our cast and our crew together. We're rehearsing at the moment. We've got a great, wonderful opportunity to be working with a lot of professionals who are seasoned on this. We have a professional sound designer, lighting, costumes, film. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a moment. But we have all these components together, and what we're going to do is do everything, and it will be live up until the point that we actually put it and film each segment of it so that it becomes sewn together, one final broadcast production, one weekend at the end of April.
What an amazing, how did all this come about?
Well, we've been kind of trying to figure things out as we've been going, because between the pandemic and the rules changing regarding the pandemic, it's been, as you can imagine, difficult to plan for anything. So now, as things seem to be clearing with the planning that we did initially, was that should things get better, this is the direction that we can go in. So now we are in the fortunate position of having a production that embraces the fact that we can do a little bit more in terms of rehearsing in person while maintaining distancing and safety, and at the same time that affords us an opportunity to create a performance that's going to be unique in terms of, well, you're going to hear a little bit from Mr. Odell, our director of the orchestra pit, and from Jen, our choreographer and assistant director, in terms of putting together a cast recording of all of the music, a orchestra pit recording of all of the music, and then combining all of that to create a visual outcome that's going to be, well, pretty special, pretty special.
Ron, what's the reaction of the students themselves here at Putnam Valley?
I think the reaction is positive. I think a little nervous at first. I think students are wondering exactly how this is all going to work, and that's understandably so. We've had those experiences and thoughts ourselves. I think what's important is that we are trying to make sure, all of us, and beyond just the three of us, but everybody we're working with, is trying to make sure that we offer a positive experience that the students can have, because they're not able to have what they normally have, right? They all look forward to this year after year, just like we have athletes look forward to their seasons. We have students look forward to being in these productions. So I think one of our goals was continue to make sure that we did everything we could that these students would have not only just an experience, but would have a really good experience. And I think what we're seeing, as Jerry said, just based on the people that we're able to work with, is that we're actually going to be able to offer them, in my opinion, a different experience that they would not have been able to have if this pandemic had not been a reality. And that really is a testament to a lot of things. I'd like to say that it's a testament to Jerry and myself or Jen or all the other professionals, but it's really a testament, I think, to the whole school community. I think the program that we've built over the years, I think we're very lucky in Putnam Valley to have a supportive administration, Board of Education, and through that support, we've been able to keep our equipment updated. And I know it's as silly as sounding, but as simple as having the right cable run in the walls makes something like this possible. Because we have folks like Dan Mahoney, who is on the other side of the camera here, who is going to be able to offer up a lot of video support with his team of students. And we have a whole plethora of professionals that work with us that know how to do this work, that can then teach the students how to go through it and how to experience something that they wouldn't have been able to do.
Was it challenging for the students at first, with the pandemic, with social distancing, with playing musical instruments? Was it challenging for them?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and it continues to be challenging for them. And I think there's a real desire for them to interact with one another. And every opportunity we have, either in school or out of school, to get the kids performing together is really an amazing experience for both teacher and student.
I feel like putting on this musical specifically, it gives them also a sense of normalcy. So they are so excited to come together and put on any sort of show right now, especially since it's a musical. So it really checks their box off of, yes, we get to actually perform. And now that we're also bringing in some of these really unique experiences, not only are they checking that box off, but really going above and beyond and being excited to experience all of these new things and new components that they don't necessarily get to experience in a normal year.
How many students are involved?
Oh, goodness.
Let's see. Well, we've got about 15 right now in the cast, and then we've got approximately 10 on the crew right now, and that number seems to be growing as we seem to have more opportunities for people to work on things like costumes and film editing and all kinds of other opportunities that are growing. So in terms of the total number, who knows where it may end up, but it's a good bunch. It's a good bunch.
Now you say this is going to be performed, recorded, and played the end of April.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
On the
That's
local
right.
cable television?
It'll be a pay-per-view situation, actually. So we'll advertise that, a link and an opportunity to pay for that opportunity to see it.
Exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No other school, as far as I'm aware, in the entire region is doing something as challenging as this, as we are in Putnam Valley.
I think every school is doing its best. I think it's, I'm not sure what every school is doing. I know we've spoken to some colleagues who are everybody's pulling out all the creative stops that they can pull out. I think what makes us unique here, right, at least for right now, is our facility is really top notch, and we have the people in place. I mentioned Dan Mahoney, for example, who's an employee here that deals with he works for all the video technology, works with our IB film students. We have him. We have a professional sound engineer who is able to teach the students how to make a full cast recording.
Who happens to be Grammy Award winning for his sound recordings, which is actually, again, another notch above that everybody's really excited about.
And we have the technology, and I think that's those are things we didn't have to put in place in order to do it. And I think that's why we feel most fortunate, because all those pieces were in place already, and we just had a shift.
So we advise our viewers out there to stay tuned, as they say. And the end of April, there'll be news releases put out, I'm sure, on the school's website. Mm-hmm. And as we say, the Drowsy Chaperone will be coming to Putnam Valley. Gregory and I enjoy the show. Thank you so much for our guests.
Thank you.
Jeremy and I will be back. You stay tuned. Alliyah Steele, Emma Silverman. Congratulations, ladies. Quite recognition. Regeneron finalists.
Yeah, we're very proud of our Authentic Science Research program, and we continue to see students succeed in it. And in this case, these two ladies are recognized as semifinalists in the Regeneron, and we're very proud of their accomplishments.
When you're
Putting Putnam Valley on the map in the authentic science research world.
When you're thinking all of Putnam County, there were 3 students, and 2 come from Putnam Valley. That's quite a coup.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the unique opportunity to sort of witness these students work on their project through the years, and I would love to repeat their titles, but they're too complicated to even repeat. But it's like high school students writing dissertations while in school.
How these young people come up with these titles, these ideas, that always blows my mind.
It's impressive work, and I really look forward to see how the skills that they're getting during this class translate to their future careers and what accomplishments they'll have over their lifetime.
And talking about honors and recognition, IB students are making news as well.
Yeah, our first class is nearing their diploma candidacy. I know that they've recently finished their extended essays, which is, again, almost a college level dissertation that they're writing or thesis that they're writing as part of their IB program. And those students are nearing. And again, we'll be very proud to have our first cohort of students graduate with IB diplomas. Not to underscore the tremendous number of students that are participating in IB courses and earning certificates. And it's a program we continue to see a huge amount of growth in. And the level of interest from 10th graders going into 11th grade next year is extremely high, and I hope it continues to grow.
You know, we talked about the physical plant a short time ago, praising the custodians and maintenance people. How is that construction coming along now? Are we almost done?
Yeah, we actually have our official groundbreaking of the new Health and Wellness Center scheduled for this Thursday prior to the board meeting. Obviously, because of COVID and restrictions, it'll be a small event, but we've invited our facilities planning committee, the group of individuals that got together 2 years ago now, to start to begin the planning process. So we've invited them, our board members, our administrators, to be there for the ribbon cutting, along with some of the contractors that helped us reach that finish line. So there's still some finishing touches that need to be done. There's the landscaping, and that work will be done this spring once the ground thaws. So it'll make it look a little nicer. We have some trees coming in to be planted. But the inside of the building is open, and we have students using it. An hour or two after we received our certificate of occupancy, we had cheerleading and wrestling in there. So they're out of the hallway and they're out of the cafeteria. And then that was one of the huge driving forces behind that space.
And once again, we have to thank the residents of Putnam Valley for their support. Events like this, programs like this, buildings like this could not have been done without them.
Very much true. We very much appreciate the support we received to our facilities project. I think our middle school, which was ready to reopen in September, looks vastly different. Really looking forward to being able to fully utilize those spaces. Right? We opened up these new social and learning commons in the midst of COVID and restrictions, so they're not necessarily operating in their full capacity. But as we continue to progress towards a return to what our new normal would be, I anticipate those spaces will be functioning in the capacity in which they were designed.
Okay. Superintendent of Schools Jeremy Luft, we thank you for joining us in this edition of Inside Putnam Valley Schools. We'll be back in a month or so, give you a rundown on that budget and the other events taking place. In the meantime, be safe, enjoy, relax, have a wonderful spring. You've been watching an edition of Inside Putnam Valley Schools with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jeremy Luft. I'm Eric Roos. Until next time, bye-bye now.